Coming off of the Sumeru Archon Quest, I was pretty excited for Fontaine. With how wonderful the Sumeru Arc and Nahida story quest was, I was confident in the story that MiHoYo wanted to tell. To me, it was a huge step up from Inazuma, which I still did enjoy. But after finishing the first 2 chapters of Fontaine, I think this is genuinely my favorite Archon Quest. It had everything that I wanted. But a defining factor of that were the characters. Going into Fontaine, I had my eyes set on just 2 people, Lady Farina and Arlecchino. But after finishing the first 2 chapters, I've really grown to care about Navia, Laini, Lynette, Neuvillette, characters who I had absolutely no interest in before. Even upon completing it, I so desperately wanted to pull for Navia. I fell in love with her character after viewing her story, and we don't even have her actual character quest unlocked. Her introduction, her butlers, her views, her personality, her reactions, they're all so likable and realistic. You get a great understanding of why she cares so much about Spina de Rosula and just how much it means to her. But her confrontation with Neuvillette and witnessing her cry in front of him sent chills throughout my entire body. She's one of the few characters in Genshin where we were introduced to her early on, and I actually gave a crap about her story. In such a short amount of time, I've grown to love her and everything that her organization stands for. I understood the pain that she felt for her father and the injustices that were done to him. Yet, when she uncovered that he was protecting her this whole time, it adds another layer to this story with us trying to uncover the truth behind this case. These characters' lives are built into the world itself and not just added on at the very end, which I really appreciate in a game with such a large roster. But not just her, Laini and Lynette, 2 characters who have been known in Genshin since almost 2.0, and I'll cover them more in their character quests, but just like with Navia, I adore these siblings. Their interactions with one another feel like a genuine sibling bond, and pair that with their magician acts and their opposing personalities, they're 2 characters who I'm glad served us in the introduction. Yet by the time we got to see their secret of being Fatui and learning their backstory, it just brought them to a whole new level. Hearing about Lynette's abduction, the horrors that took place within that nobleman's basement, Genshin pushed a lot farther than I thought they would, and I really appreciate the more dark and serious tones. This just makes me more curious about Arlecchino and her motives. We know that she wants to save Fontaine, but the Fatui is such a large organization. Each member still has their own objectives, and the Harbingers aren't excluded of this either. Arlecchino has yet to make an appearance, but we've already been given a few teases of her. This makes me wonder just how deep her strings have been woven in Fontaine. However, Neuvillette and Focalors are just such a funny duo. I never thought I'd see someone be so done with their Archon. Every interaction with these 2 is just such a joy. Neuvillette is essentially her babysitter and constantly calls her out on her dramatics. While we've mainly seen him with Focalors, the times when he's alone or with someone else, he's actually quite a great guy. He's very calm, very organized, very wise, almost suspicious. He jumped and one-shot Child, but he also lacks a vision. And his eyes, I don't know, Fontaine's eyes are just built different. They're just so beautiful, so unique. And on the flip side, we have Focalors, who is such a brat, but she's so adorable. I'm sorry, I am so gonna vote for her. If she were to just stop talking as much, she would be top tier. But that's also what makes her so funny, so I really do like her. She really is like a watery Hu-Tao. She was quick to point fingers at the obvious during Laini's trial, seeked the acknowledgement of the traveler upon entering the courtroom, and stayed up all night digging up Laini and Lynette's past. She's something special. She's also not the most subtle in cases as well.
Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either! Hey, stop staring at me!
However, we've only been shown one side of her. Now, not every character has to have an edgy inner demon that they're fighting, but she does have a prophecy to battle, and I'm curious to see how she interacts with people in a more private setting. But I need more Focalors and Neuvillette, like a little sitcom. Thank you. Yet, those are just some of the main characters that we focused on during this Archon quest. There were still plenty of notable side characters like Navia's butlers, Clorin's button. See, that right there is the real Hydro Archon. Vashtir in a story of losing his loved one. So then of course he started kidnapping young women and turning them into water just to experiment to see if he can bring them back. Yeah, I'm sure him and Dotoria would have been at least decent colleagues. While the trials were a blast to go through and getting the introduction to the new gameplay mechanics were exciting, I think having just one more trial would suffice my taste for them. There could be a chance for us to redo Child's trial whenever those clues start to come up, but frankly, I think Child just wants to get an actual fight against Nouvellette now. Man cannot go out like that. And if it came down to him versus Nouvellette, my money is still on Nouvellette unless Child gets Foul Legacy off. Even then though, that's probably still not enough. But I would also be fine if Navia took the backseat for a remainder of the chapters. Her story arc is done, so I would much rather focus on the big names like Focalors, Nouvellette, Child, and Arlecchino. While the initial Fontaine trailer showed off a lot more characters that we haven't seen, I'm quite happy with our current lineup of characters for the main quest. But that's all we've gotten in the first 2 chapters. 2 wonderful chapters that served as the introductory to Fontaine, and I haven't even touched upon the world quest and some hidden Easter eggs that are sprinkled throughout Fontaine. I look forward to diving deeper into the rest of the cast, and I hope that 4.0 continues to provide us with a great story.